Hi besties, how are we all doing today? We're gonna do a review. I didn't plan on doing this review, but let me tell you a story before the review. So, as some of you might know, I had to make a new tank for my rainbow shiners because they're so pretty. Anyway, I explain it in the rainbow shiner video. And I had everything. I didn't have to spend money on anything. I had the stand, I had the tank, I had the light, even the LED background, which I burned at some point. I fixed including the filter. I had everything. Cost me nothing to put that aquarium together until I reached the filter part. You see, when I moved to this house, I didn't actually take everything from the old apartment or the old greenhouse, for those of you who know. Some stuff that I deemed non-essential, I left there, including my Tetra X800, which I actually made a few years ago a review for. So I went to the greenhouse to take my filter and the filter is gone. Nobody can find it. The filter is gone. I don't know where it went. It might turn up one day. It might not. I don't know. The filter is gone. So I needed a new filter. So I go to the pet shop in the hopes that I will get another Tetra because Tetra X's are actually quite affordable and I've been using them for 20 years or Tetra filters I've been using for so many years. I'm okay with them. They're affordable. I go to the shop to get a Tetra X and this is the price I found for it. So I went home and I started to look online for it. Olabera doesn't have the 700 in stock. The only place I found it available was Amazon. So I purchased this for 82 euros on Amazon. Woo! I wasn't planning to, but I had to. So might as well do a little review on it, right? Maybe I'm gonna get a bit of the money back, who knows, and maybe this will be useful for you as well. So here we have the Tetra X 700 Plus. Now back in the day, this one did not exist. Their line was 400, 600, 800, and maybe 1000. They redid all of that, and now they have the Tetra X 500, 700, 1000, and 1500, I think. So what they say is that they improved it. They say that the flow is better. This one has a 1040 liters per hour flow. I mean, I don't have a flow meter. And that it's good for 200 liters aquariums or up to. Yeah, it has a better flow in the end. And there are some other differences that I did see compared to the old Tetra X 600 and I think even to the 800. And overall, the review will be positive. I'm a pretty good fan of these filters because I've been using them for so long. Don't expect luxuries with these filters for the price, you know, don't expect luxuries, but I do believe they do the job. So overall, I am actually happy with this filter. So let's start with the price and then we're gonna go to an unboxing section or part of the video. The price, as I was saying, will vary. In my country, it's 200 freaking euros. I don't have that type of money. I wish I did, but I don't. So my only hope is online. On Olibeta, it's around 100 euros. Or 90 or a little less, I don't remember because I didn't purchase it from there. On Amazon it's 82 if I'm not misremembering, but anyway, as you can see, it's around the 100 euros mark unless you live in Cyprus or maybe in a different country which has high prices for these types of things. But it is what I would call a mid-range priced filter. Can you go cheaper than this? Absolutely. You can go for a Sun or a Re-Sun or whatever ends in Sun, I guess. You can go for something like that. However, in my experience, there is a bit of a difference in quality actually. This being slightly better quality and I guess being a more established brand, I guess, in the market. Just a little side note, one of our besties in the original Tetra X video told us that in the USA, Tetra is actually marine land. I'm not entirely sure if all of the products that we have in Europe have an alternative with marine land in the USA. You should let me know in the comment section below. But I do see from pictures that the filters at least look almost identical, just different colors. So if you're in the USA and you've never heard of Tetra or you don't have these products, check out marine land. It might actually be the same. And if you are in the USA, do a favor to all of us besties and leave a comment for everybody to know if indeed their products are identical to the ones in Europe, to the Tetra products, if you know, just so we have a better idea about this company worldwide. Thank you. So the price is mid-range, same range as I would say Sarah, JBL, you know, these things if you're in Europe. Maybe in the US you have other brands. And again, in my experience, and with this filter as well, I find the price comfortable for what it does and what it is and what it offers. And I feel like it's okay priced, honestly. I've had these filters in the past for many years and they worked. Unless they disappear, they do actually work. So price-wise, yeah, mid-range, but I'm okay with the price. I'm not gonna, I will nitpick a little, but not too much because there are some cons and some pros. So let's end the price section of this video and go to the unboxing because I have stuff to show you and say. Alright, so the Tetra X filters look like a very typical canister filter, and inside the box you will of course get the actual canister, the top part that includes the motor, the impeller, and the connections of course, and together with this filter you also get some accessories such as some pipes. Now inside the actual bucket you will find again the very typical things you find in other canister filters. I would say it's the stereotype of canister filters, this one. So inside we have a filter floss, which I personally don't use, and also some activated carbon, which again I do not use, and of course a few sponges. You also have some plastic medium, which is supposed to be biological. I don't personally use it, and of course some ceramic rings, which again, they're not better or worse than any ceramic rings you find with other filters. So my preferred configuration is a bottom layer of sponges because this filter, or rather the water in this filter, runs from below towards the top. So in the first basket I have my sponges to clean out the gunk, and in the top two baskets I prefer to put biological filtration. I will in time change the biological filtration, but that's besides the point. Now I will say, working with the other filters that I've worked with, which are a little bit more expensive, I can tell you this plastic on this particular filter feels flimsy. I'm not a plastic expert, it's just what I feel. And that being said, the filter looks very nice and I do really like the sheen of it and the paint, but the latches feel a little bit flimsy. Now, the other components are actually marvelous. I have always liked the little faucets that Tetras come with. I do enjoy the hose as well, if that's a thing. It's not very rigid, and surprise, surprise, I think that the fittings and the intake and return are top notch, top quality. It's that type of plastic which looks like glass. It's thick, it's not flimsy, absolutely marvelous. The older models didn't have this. Now, the top part where you actually connect the hoses is changed. It has this little lever that goes left to right, up and down. In the past, these filters had a lever that had a second bottom lever that was kind of flimsy as well. This has been changed and I'm happy to see it because this lever does feel quite a lot better than the previous one and has less chances to break, I would say, even though I didn't break the old lever either. So here are the little faucets I'm talking about. They're actually valves, I guess you could call them. I like that when I have to remove the hoses and clean them, I can just unscrew these little latches, just close, let's say, the valve, unscrew these. They don't take up space. I can even pull them through the little holes in my aquarium stand. They don't really touch the wall because they're so tiny. Very nice system in my opinion. This is what I was expecting from the Biomaster. Alas, I didn't get. Anyway, these are pretty good quality, and again, I've never had issues with any of these. Other than that, things are very standard, and here I am using or reusing some biological filtration that I had in the tank previously to this filter, to acquiring this filter. And as I was saying, in the future, I will change those plastic bowls as well because I'm not a fan of them. I'm checking the seals because of the Aquael experience, but again, in my experience, I've never had issues with the seals of this filter, and closing the latches needs to be done a little bit carefully in my opinion, so I'm doing that. Here I am testing the spray bar, which is extendable to some degree, but I chose to use the shorter spray bar for this aquarium, and I'm putting it on the side, and it does work very, very well. Connecting the hoses and installing everything is very typical. You have suction cups provided, but here is the worst part of everything. Priming the filter, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but it works, and hoping it doesn't leak. And besties, wouldn't you know it, it does not leak. Thankfully. carefully. Again, never had an issue with the Tetra filters leaking. Did you guys have any issues ever? Because I do read sometimes in reviews that people have some issues. Maybe it's a bad seal or something. I personally didn't experience it, and I didn't experience it with this one either. I have a bit of a phobia of leaking filters, and lately I've had so many filters leaking for one reason or another that I'm a little scared of it. Anyway, so here is the filter installed. The self-priming button works well. I just don't like that you have to push it from above, so you have to remove the filter from the cabinet and then apply a bit of force. With this particular filter being so small, it's not an issue. But here is the filter working. You can see, hopefully visually, the flow. I can tell you that compared to my Tetra X800, this one seems to be a little bit more flowy. If not the same, then even more flowy than the Tetra X800. I think this is partially due to the fact that they changed the size of the hoses. If I'm not mistaken, both the Tetra X600 and 800 had 12 to 16 millimeter diameter hoses, which can, I believe, in my opinion, restrict the flow. This one seems to work very well for the 80-liter aquarium. It's quite flowy, which is what I want for the rainbow shiners. You might find this one to be a little bit too flowy. Maybe you can adjust the flow from those little faucets. I like to call them faucets. I'm not adjusting anything. I have it full open because I do want a lot of flow for this aquarium for these fish. And of course, the filter runs dead silent. I think it really is the most silent filter in my entire living room. Even though the Aquoil is very, very silent as well, this one is even more so. And that's one thing that I've always appreciated about the Tetra filters. There are inconveniences, some such as the flimsy plastic and stuff, but they're always whisper quiet. I've never had any issues with them, and when you close the cabinet, you really don't hear not even the little bit of trickling of water, which never bothered me. What bothers me is that really bad hum that some filters produce. So I believe that's about it. I will come back with some more thoughts after using this filter for a little while. Right, so we're back. Bonus points for amazing fittings. Whatever happened, Tetra? I'm considering to find the fittings separately and put them on the big tank as well, because they look like glass, but they're not glass. They're very good plastic. Will it get scratched in time with like the brush and stuff? Maybe, but they look much better than what I'm using now. And what I'm using out now are the Biomaster fittings because they look better than the Aquoil fittings. I actually don't like either of them as much as I like the fittings of the Tetra. How about that? Amazing. Bonus points again for not being noisy. All right, let's do the noise test. Problem is I have the fridge running right behind me. I hope this will work. But yeah, this is the noise, the filter. It really is a whisper. So imagine even with the cabinet closed. Oops. I'm gonna destroy my lavalier. Yeah, it's even better. Hello. In my experience, and again, my experience with Tetra spans for 20 years already, because that was amongst the only brands I could find in Romania 20 years ago. They have never been noisy for me. That's why I had such a shock with the Biomaster. I've never experienced a very hummy filter like that. Can you hear it when you're close to it? Absolutely. But what's important and what I find really breaks your immersion is when it has that bassy hum. If you hear a little bit of like, you can hear a little that impeller, it's fine. It's not bassy. The bassy sounds are what drives me bonkers and what propagates through the room. There's none of that here. So if you're close to it, yeah, of course you're gonna hear any filter. But I'm telling you, I have internal filters which are more noisy than this one. So I have no issue with the noise. Also, I do appreciate that the hoses and everything now, they're not 12, 16 millimeters diameter, they're actually 16, 22. So that actually makes the flow better. And visually, and as far as I remember the Tetra X800, I would say this one has either the same flow or better flow than the Tetra X800. I'm certainly very happy with the flow in the tank, especially because they're rainbow shiners. They do actually like the flow. It's flowy. It's on the flowy side for an 80-liter aquarium. I could go with this all the way up to 120 liters and be absolutely fine, I would say, in a planted tank. 200 liters, maybe not. But 120, I personally feel adequate and okay with. Depends. These things are more of a personal choice. Some people really don't like very flowy aquariums. Maybe you don't need all that much flow. But anyway, I also do enjoy how much space you have to put your filtration and everything. Again, with the plasticky bits, I talked about this in the Tetra X800 review as well. I'm not a fan. I prefer the ceramic cylinders. That's just me. I'm also not a huge fan of the ceramic cylinders this one comes with, but again, I already had some ceramic things from the Aquarium, and also I have an order that needs to arrive. I ordered Siporax from Sarah, which is a very affordable and in my opinion really good biological medium. So who offers you good biological filtration? I don't know if anybody offers, to my liking at least. There are people who don't give a tiny rat's behind about biological filtration and just use the sponges that these filters come with. One person is George Farmer, and we can all agree his tanks are just chef's kiss. Maybe we'll talk about the biological filtration one day. If you have a very heavily planted tank, you don't really need that much biological filtration, to be highly honest with you. But anyway, the biological filtration media that comes with this is like no different than the Biomaster. The things Biomasters come with, not my thing either. So, you cannot say, yeah, it's cheap, but it doesn't have good... No, none of the filters I ever bought had biological filtration to my liking. It is what it is. What else can I say about it? Quality of plastic, there is a difference. Like, I've been touching the Aquarium now, and even the Biomaster, there is a difference. It is what it is. This plastic, look, it's a little flimsier. The things, they're a little more exciting when you push down on those flaps. It's like, oh, so flimsy, careful. With the Aquarium, I don't have that issue, but with this one, I'm a little, oh no. It doesn't mean anything, actually, maybe. In all of my years, I've never broken anything on these filters. But I will issue this little side note, be careful with those latches. When you push those latches down and then you press on them, don't do it with the force of 3 gladiators. Do it with the force of a tiny little birdie. I don't know. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. As I was saying, Tetras have always been available to me, and I've always used them, and I've actually never had issues. I've never had to give up on them. They just disappeared. So yeah, with that said, I hope this video helps you out. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and as always, please do leave me your comments down below with your reviews of these filters so we can all learn more. And I encourage everybody to always read the comment sections of my reviews and see what everybody else is saying, the good and the bad and whatever you feel like you want to share, and I appreciate it so much. All right, so with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye!